Well, it's a Midwest spring. Yesterday was sunny and 50, and now we've got snow again. But wanted to do a early spring update on the man cave. I've released two videos. This is kind of how this has been evolving. Um, I'll just walk you through it real quick. If you like man cave or game room tours, I'll show you some things that have changed, and I've been doing a lot of collecting for games lately. So we'll talk through some of that. As always, I want to mention the antique firearms. Let me turn up the lights a little bit. So bottom one is a 1943 M1 Garand, and top is a 1939 Mosin Nagant. That's my old army helmet, which me and that thing have seen a lot of crazy stuff together. A couple of games, some duplicates that I'm planning to sell here in the near future. So that's on the wall. I do like antique firearms, and they kind of just stay there, but I have shot both of them. Foosball table. I won't go over that. That's some Army awards I have. Put this table in. It's good for like Legos and playing chess or board games and stuff. Got my drum set here. We recently had a baby in December, so hasn't got a ton of use lately, but hopefully in the near future I'll build a drum again. It is spring, so I do have a lot of seeds. Tomatoes, cucumbers, all that fun stuff. Getting ready to plant those out in the garden. I relocated my work desk. I do work from home as a software developer, so this is kind of my spot to work now during the day. I have a 34-inch ultra-wide monitor, 165 hertz, I believe. It's pretty nice. It's a good little setup there. Hang out. Let's see. So I do have some, Star Wars action figures. Had those for years. They're still sealed. And then a Batman action figure. I remember seeing that in the store when I was a kid, and I couldn't afford to buy it. But it's Batman with a parachute. It's kind of cool. The seating area, again, this is where I work. Like I said, I do work from home as a software developer, so it's kind of a nice setup. I can kind of see the whole basement from here. This shelf, mostly Legos. I won't show each of those, but I do collect Legos here and there, ones that I think are fun. Legos that I put together. Some Star Wars characters. I really like the Star Wars sets. Big Star Wars fan. My childhood Batman action figures. These are the original ones that I had as a kid growing up, mostly from Batman the animated series, and the Batcave. So glad I still have those. It's kind of cool. Below that, I've got my comic book collection. Quite a few comics from the 90s. I have a few from the 60s and 70s, but mostly from the 90s. And then, some old EGM magazines. I have been buying some of these here and there. I think it's just really fun to flip through those. So I love the old video game magazines. It's an era gone by. Some Blu-rays, PC games, mostly World of Warcraft. I don't really play anymore, but used to play a lot. I kind of stopped at Cataclysm, and I didn't even really play that much Cataclysm. I was really into it during Wrath of the Lich King. Over here, this is just kind of a mishmash of things that I need to put somewhere, but yep. And yeah, let me get a quick pan of the game wall. So it stretches pretty far. I think that's, 8 times 3, 24 feet wide. Still actively collecting for PS4. That's a system that I think just won't die for a long time. So I'll do a slow pan over these real quick. Most of the ones you'd expect. Great system. Might be in my top 3 now. A lot of them are sealed. I've been collecting games and haven't been playing them as much as I'd like to, just because being a new dad. So still buying them, but yeah. I did finish Hogwarts Legacy a couple weeks ago. That was pretty good. DJ Hero, Boxed in 64, 2 Oculus. Those are the Quest 1. They're still good. I know the Quest 2's out now, but maybe I'll get those at some point. NES and some games. Let's see if I can show these. I think most of the big hitters. I don't have anything extremely rare. Mario 3 is my favorite Mario of all time. Legend of Zelda, second favorite series franchise of all time. Got Ninja Gaiden, Jordan vs. Bird, and then a few of kind of those unlicensed games. To the right of that, Game Boy. This was my original Game Boy carrying case I had as a kid, in like the mid-90s, and my original Game Boy, so happy I still have that. I didn't ever trade it or sell it. Not a ton of Game Boy games. I lost my Pokemon Silver. I'm hoping it's somewhere in this basement, but it's making me really sad that I don't know where that's at. Final Fantasy 3 on display. I haven't actually played that. I emulated it, God, 15 years ago for a little bit. Would like to get that in, because I know it's one of the fan favorites, so we'll see. And then Super Nintendo games. Didn't really pick up too many of these recently. Most of these I already had. One of my smaller collections. Inbox Super Nintendo. One thing I want to call out, I do have a fair number of games they're still in box or loose, 5 for $25 in box. Remember those days? This one means a lot. It's not a very good game, but I remember when, so I got that from my mom and pop video rental store, probably 2004, 2005, somewhere in there. They were just purging all of their old rentals. So it's cool to have that, because this this sat on a shelf at my local video rental store. We didn't have Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or any of those nearby. We had just had the mom and pop shop, and I remember the wood grain and going in and seeing all the games. So just cool that used to be on the wall. It still has the original box, considering how much it probably got beat up and rented. To the right of that, some Wii games, GameCube games. I did add a few GameCube games. Rogue Leader, SSX Tricky, Smuggler's Run, Armament 3 RTS, and Extreme G. Yeah, not really a huge GameCube collector. It's just getting too pricey right now. Hopefully those will come down shortly. I did have a black Wii, but I've replaced it with a red one so that I can play my GameCube games, because I don't have a GameCube system. I might get one, but the Wii is working just fine for that purposes. Wii U games. Haven't added anything to this since the last video. And a box Wii U console. Xbox and 360 games. Definitely focusing still on these. I don't know if there's any I want to call out. A couple ones I picked up, I guess. Like Shell Shock. I remember playing that on, I think, PS2. Really gritty game. You know, and then all the Halos. Got a few things in stock. I bought, I think, 10 360 games last month. Primarily, it was the old Call of Duties. I do have a Ride to Hell Retribution, still sealed. In my last video, I mentioned I was going to play that. I haven't done that yet, but one of these days I will. And then Inbox Connect. I've actually been collecting for Connect lately. It's kind of an odd system. It's not very good, but I kind of like those oddities. And my Inbox Xbox 360 that didn't get red ringed, unlike my previous one. Going around here, Sega Dreamcast Inbox. I have one Game Gear game. I got that for $2.99 at a thrift store. And here are my Dreamcast games. I have Elemental Gimmick Gear. I did pick that up since my last video. Awesome. That game's awesome and very underappreciated, I think. And then some of my other Dreamcast games. I really am enjoying collecting for the Dreamcast. After Xbox, it's probably the one I'm collecting the most for. I never had one as a kid. I remember seeing $50 in the bargain bin, but at that point I was already on PS2, so enjoying exploring the Dreamcast a bit more. Switch games, yeah, definitely my least favorite system from the current gen. I did pick up Metroid Prime Remastered, playing through that right now. I don't know, Switch just isn't speaking to me too much. If I can get a game that runs at better resolution and frame rate on PS4 or 5, I'm going to do that. I have a ton of old PS2 demo discs I've kind of crammed in here. I've had these since they came out. The magazines are probably still over on that wall. And PS2 games. Haven't collected a ton recently, but I did get the Jak and Daxter series. Tribes Aerial Assault, I remember renting that, and I remember really liking it. Big fan of Tribes. My inbox PS2 and PS1 games, a few on display. Vandal Hearts, really love that game. Final Fantasy VII, I don't need to say much about that. And then here's some of my other PS1 games. I did buy Digimon World the other day. I remember watching my buddy play that. I never owned it, but I thought it was cool when I was into Digimon, so grabbed that up. Some more rarities. Rising Zan, the Samurai Gunman. Kind of an odd one. I don't see many people talk about that. And then, yeah, Chocobo's Dungeon. And then I have Chocobo Racing, too, here at the end. And my inbox PlayStation 1. On the top shelf, I have an inbox Genesis, and this is another system I've been pretty actively collecting for. Never owned a Genesis personally, but I remember playing them at my friends' houses. We had more Nintendo systems, but Genesis games are great to collect for because they usually come complete or close to complete with the hard shell cases, and I honestly would rather collect for Genesis than the Super Nintendo right now, and the prices are better, so yeah, this is what I've got. Again, nothing super rare. All right, well, the rest of the games are N64. Definitely my favorite system. I think the PlayStation 1's better, ultimately, but N64 and I have a lot of nostalgia together, so. All the games on the top row, with the, excluding these 4, are complete in box. So I'll just do a quick pan here. This Quake is still sealed. And then some baseball games. Not sure what I'm going to do with those. I like to have everything kind of cased and boxed, if you didn't notice, so I may buy some of these hard shells. These are like repro hard shell cases, kind of like what Sega Genesis comes in. May buy some of those for these, but I think the cases are more expensive than the games right now, so that's why they're there. All right, back to the pan. I have some pretty rare games for the N64. You know, like Worms Armageddon is always an expensive one. Beast Wars, pretty expensive. Castlevania Legacy of Darkness, pretty expensive. StarCraft. Harvest Moon can be a little pricey. And then I did used to have Stunt Racer 64, which is like usually the second rarest N64 game, but I bought that for like $90 a while, like 5 years ago, and it's worth like $575 now, so I did sell that for $575. I wasn't planning to play it, and I'd rather have $600 in my pocket for other things, so I'm not a complete collector. Couple Brawler 64 wireless controllers, and then my inbox controller collection. I love those inbox controllers. Coming back around, these are my N64 systems. These are all complete in box, but the box is obviously varying quality. This one's really beat up, but it's fine. System works great. So I think the only system I don't have a variant of is still the Pokemon N64. I would like to pick that up one day, but for now, I'm kind of done collecting for the N64. I have basically everything I'd ever want for it. Just cool to have these fantastic systems. This is actually my original, the one I got in like 97, 98. So happy I still have that in box. My grandparents bought that for me. It's awesome. All right, continuing around. This is our seating area. That's my Great Day in Liesel. I do collect vintage records. A couple recent pickups. Christopher Cross and Eddie Money. I mostly grew up in the 90s, but I do love 80s music through my parents. Entertainment center setup, 75-inch Samsung Q80T. Love that TV, it's great. My turntable, Wii U gamepad, center channel speaker, and then like I mentioned, I've been messing around with the Kinect lately. NVIDIA Shield, don't really use that too much except unless I'm streaming a game from my PC. Some controllers, Switch, Wii U, PS5. Recently hooked up my Xbox 360 for the Kinect setup. N64. So all my consoles are boxed except for the gold N64. I'm not paying $1,000 for that cardboard, but maybe someday I'll get lucky and find a box for it. Sega Genesis and Sega Dreamcast. So these are the systems that I'm playing recently. Below that's my audio stuff. So I have a mini disc player, if anyone remembers those. My Pioneer head unit, 5.1 surround sound. Everything else is running to that, so I get the good surround sound. And then Marantz tape deck and CD player. Got this for like $5, and it works fantastic. So, I don't know. I like dicking around with tapes and CDs still. Going down here, I've got some disc plates. This one's great. Link, Riding Epona, Ocarina of Time. My boy, Darth Vader. Love Vader. Disney hasn't done him justice. And then a Dark Souls one. And then I have space for one more. I'm going to throw that there. Debating between Final Fantasy or Metroid. And then I put a skateboard deck between them, but I'll probably do something else here and something else between the next disc plate. Baby Bassinet, which is down here hanging out with me. And then our bar setup. So this has changed a lot since my last video. We did put in kind of a liquor shelf. So my wife and I like to collect different liquors. We've got mugs and copper mugs for when we make Moscow Mules. 55-inch TV. Prostitution license that I got when I lived in Arizona. Kind of cool. Works well in the bar. Randy and his gut. Barry Sanders. I'm from Michigan. Love Barry Sanders. And then a photo wall. I won't show that. It's a little more personal. So yeah, this is the man cave game room / my work office. I guess one thing I'll call out real quick is the gaming PC. I do have that down there. So I use this for gaming on PC as well as working. I have a USB switcher that allows me to convert my mouse and keyboard. I just push a button and it switches all the inputs over to whatever PC I want. Pretty nice. And yeah, give a quick show from the doorway. All right, well, that's the hangout spot as of March 2023. Keeps evolving, keeps growing, but right now I'm pretty happy with it. Such a good place to just hang out and work, just sit down and do my job every day and have all this stuff to look at and enjoy. So as mentioned, I did become a dad in December, so dealing with trying to figure out how to work full-time, be a dad full-time. Yep, that's where baby sits when I'm working. Cool. Hope you liked it. If you didn't, that's okay too. But I like to make these every couple months just to show off kind of what we've got going on. Thanks for watching.